I have been playing video games for as long as I can remember. Gaming was and will be an integral part of my life. I loved games back when they used to look like Virtua Cop 2, Road Rash, Need for Speed 2, and I still love games when they look like Elden Ring, Cyberpunk, Witcher 3, GTA 5. My love for this magnificent thing or medium remains unchanged. आधे से ज़्यादा लोगों के लिए gaming is a source of entertainment, an escape from reality or cheap dopamine. और अब ये डिस्क्रिप्शन गलत नहीं है, but it's barely the half picture. Video games hold the power to alter its consumers' behavior and thinking just like a good movie or a book. I know अब ये बहुत pretentious sound करेगा, लेकिन I don't look at video games as a source of entertainment or an escape from reality. I look at it just like any other piece of art which is crafted by one of the most talented and creative human minds out there. Growing up, some of us were lucky enough to have access to a computer. अब वो computer आपका था या आपके दोस्त का था या आपके कोई दूर के relative का था. The main thing is you had access to a computer. A monitor that was half my size, a PC with the most bland color scheme with a CD drive and a floppy disk जिस पे Windows XP चलता था, जिसके पहले मुझे simple maths भी आती थी. I knew how to spawn a tank in GTA Vice City. I knew how to get nitros in Road Rash. And I knew how to turn on Virtua Cop 2. मैं कभी उस गेम के फर्स्ट लेवल के बॉस को हरा ही नहीं पाया. Playing these games, whether that was by myself or with my friends and family, these games have shaped me into what I am today. ये सारे games are a major part of my childhood, and to think a bunch of human beings were involved in making these experiences possible for me is wild. Yes, growing up in India, I didn't really have access to games how people in the West did. The story of every single Indian gamer is pretty unorthodox or spread out or largely varied. Yes, we share chunks of similar experiences, but rarely the same one. And after all, that is what makes us us. हमारे अलग अलग experiences help us share our feelings, come closer to one another, and form bonds off of it. फॉर एग्जाम्पल GTA Vice City में सबको अपनी खुद की चीज़ करना पसंद होती है. किसी को सिटी में ड्राइव करना पसंद है, किसी को मिशंस करना पसंद है और किसी को सिटी डिस्ट्रॉय करना पसंद है. बट द कॉमन डिनोमिनेटर या कॉमन प्लेटफॉर्म ऑन विच ईच इंडिविजुअल हैड देयर ओन एक्सपीरियंस इज अ वीडियो गेम. And this is one of the many ways how video games bring us closer to one another. मेरे पास कभी भी कोई भी तरीका नहीं था जो मॉडर्न टाइटल्स रिलीज हो रहे थे उन्हें खेलने का. हाँ, मेरे दोस्तों के पास गेमिंग कंसोल्स थे, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, while all I had was this bad boy. But that never bothered me, and neither did it result in me losing my interest in video games. You know what they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And the man who is responsible for me not losing my interest in these games was a man who uploaded gameplay videos on YouTube. थोड़ा सा niche channel था, maybe you guys don't know his name, the Rad Brad. And मुझे पता है, मुझे 100% पता है that I am not the only one who adores this man and his work. मेरे टीनेज ईयर्स में ये बंदा मेरा हीरो था. Was he the best player? Hell no, absolutely not. But something about him and his playthroughs that just stayed with me. Maybe it was one of the many iconic dialogues this man had in his locker. The Last of Us, Batman games, Far Cry 4, Detroit Become Human, Call of Duty, and so many more incredible games were being released, and it didn't even feel like I was missing out on any one of them. Just because of this man's videos. जिन्हें देख के ऐसा लगता था that the guy is playing the game in the same room right in front of you. For some time, the Rad Brad was the sole reason why I would even go to YouTube. So for me, YouTube and gaming started coexisting. You remove one thing from the equation and मेरा interest दोनों चीज़ों में ख़त्म हो जाता. अब एक साल तक The Rad Brad के साथ exclusive parasocial relationship में रहने के बाद YouTube recommended me another video. A video by a guy named PewDiePie. And मैं बताऊंगा नहीं वो कौन सा वीडियो है because it's quite embarrassing. You know what, fuck it. It's the Talking Angela वाला वीडियो. और मैंने ये वीडियो देख के बोला what the fuck is this and why is this so much fun? This is nothing like what Rad Brad usually makes. Then why am I enjoying this content so much? And then I just kept diving deeper. Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, MatPat, the Gaming Lemon. And during this binge session, I vividly remember saying to myself, मुझे भी ये करना है. It was like experiencing love for the first time in your teenage years. Teenage love which is so pure and naive, और जो लोग usually अपने classmates के साथ experience करते हैं वो मैं experience कर रहा था एक website के साथ. I know I probably sound insane right now, but सच है. और मुझे ये वीडियोस इतने ज़्यादा पसंद आ गए that I instantly downloaded Fraps and started recording my gameplay of Crazy Taxi Driver London. But for some reason मैंने वो वीडियो same day पे upload नहीं किया, which to this day is one of my biggest regret. अब मैं explain करता हूँ क्यों. Because the day I didn't upload, उसके next day जब मैं school गया, I guess वो कोई तो library period होता है जिसमें सब बकवास करते हैं, and all of the students were discussing कि उनका dream job या उन्हें बड़ा होके क्या करना है. So of course students classic fashion में बोलते हैं मुझे astronaut बनना है, मुझे pilot बनना है, मुझे cricketer बनना है. And then अब वो सवाल जब मेरे पे आया तो मैंने बहुत proudly कहा मैं YouTube पे गेमिंग वीडियोस डालूंगा, एंड एवरीबडी इन द क्लास जस्ट बर्स्ट आउट लाफिंग. एंड यू नो लुकिंग बैक आई गेस इट डज मेक सेंस, बिकॉज अगर आपकी क्लास का सबसे इंट्रोवर्टेड बच्चा बोलेगा कि मैं यूट्यूबर बनूंगा, आई बेट दैट साउंड्स हिलेरियस. एंड आई गेस उस टाइम पे कहना कि मुझे यूट्यूबर बनना है wasn't really that cool either. And when you're in school, especially during your teenage years, the validation that you get from your classmates is everything to you. So the entire class laughing at what you want to do didn't really bolster my confidence, let's say that. और जब मैं घर पहुंचा स्कूल में अपना मजाक बनाने के बाद, the first thing that I did when I got home, even before I changed my uniform, I turned on my computer and I deleted my Crazy Taxi Driver London video, which looking back was such a bad decision, such a horrible decision. But anyways, I decided I will do the closest thing to playing video games, that is making video games. Nobody would make fun of that and everybody would think that I'm pretty cool. So it was a win-win situation, and henceforth started the Aryan Sahu game developer arc. तो मैं Unity इंस्टॉल करता हूँ, the most popular gaming engine back in 2014 और 15. अभी का कौन सा सबसे ज़्यादा पॉपुलर है मुझे उस चीज़ का ज़्यादा आइडिया नहीं है. एंड सिंस मेरा कंप्यूटर कुछ ज़्यादा खास तो था नहीं, Unity was crawling, not running on my PC. And just like all of us, to learn something new, I go to YouTube, ignoring all the Rad Brad and PewDiePie videos, thinking that they're cringe, and I started to look for tutorials. और मुझे बहुत जल्दी एक बेसिक सा ट्यूटोरियल मिल भी गया. It was a simple 3D pinball game. और ये वीडियो देख के मैंने बोला, cool, ये तो सिंपल लग रहा है, ये तो मैं बनाऊंगा. I started copying everything that the tutorial said without trying to understand anything. अगर ट्यूटोरियल में एक बॉल ऐड होती थी तो मेरे प्रोजेक्ट में भी एक बॉल ऐड होती थी. एंड जस्ट फॉर कॉन्टेक्स्ट, मुझे उस टाइम प्रोग्रामिंग का पी भी नहीं आता था. सो 1-2 घंटा स्ट्रगल करने के बाद माई प्रोजेक्ट फाइनली हैड अ बॉल एंड अ बोर्ड. And then the guy in the tutorial betrayed me. He started coding. अब तक मुझे समझ भी नहीं आया वो कोडिंग किस चीज़ के लिए कर रहा था. I think he was coding to add physics to the ball. Essentially he wanted to add bounce to the ball. तो मैंने अपनी एंड से पूरी कोशिश की to keep up with him coding, but I couldn't. So एक तरफ में जहाँ प्रोजेक्ट में उसकी बॉल बाउंस हो रही थी, in my project the ball was going through the fucking board. And trust me when I say this, I tried my hardest to keep up with him, and I spent a lot of time trying to keep up with him. And by lot of time, I mean 1 hour 30 minutes. Because Indian parents दिन में 2 घंटा कंप्यूटर यूज कर सकते हो, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं. Because अंधे हो जाओगे. Mom logic, dude. और मैं इस बॉल को इतने बार बोर्ड के थ्रू जाते हुए देख देख के इतना डिमोटिवेट हो गया दैट आई जस्ट गेव अप एंड आई सेड दिस इज़ नॉट फॉर मी. मैं गेम खेलने में ही खुश हूँ, बनाया नहीं जाएगा मुझसे. सो यू रियली कैन डिस्क्राइब मी एज आर्यन साहू, द मैन हु कुडंट एस बोर्ड्स इन यूनिटी और इन 10th and 12th. And that marked the end of Aryan Sahu's game development arc. Looking back, I think the reason why I quit was because I was driven by fear and a want to be accepted by others, rather than just being driven by passion, which is a horrible mindset not only for game development, but any creative work. And honestly, a huge big boss salute to all the game devs out there. I have no idea how you guys do it. You guys are practically magicians. सो अल्टीमेटली मैंने डिसाइड किया कि मैं यूट्यूब करूँगा अपने 12th के बोर्ड्स ख़त्म होने के बाद. तब तो मुझे कोई जज नहीं कर पाएगा, राइट? सो आई वॉज बैक वॉचिंग द रैड ब्रैड्स वीडियोज़, PewDiePie's videos and playing games on my Lenovo. Games like Max Payne, GTA Vice City, GTA San Andreas, and a lot of Flash games. Some Flash games that I cannot admit in public, but yeah, lots of Flash games. अब ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है कि मुझे कोई भी मॉडर्न टाइटल खेलने का मौका नहीं मिला. आई डिड गेट ब्लेस्ड विद एन Xbox 360e back when Xbox One and PS4 were at the end of their life cycles. लेकिन है, I wasn't going to complain. Beggars can't be choosers. और मैं खुश था Xbox 360e में. And मैं जानता हूँ मैं कितना lucky था to even have some kind of consoles to play games on. So I was more than happy. मेरे पास FIFA 17, Far Cry 4 and GTA 5 था. What more could I ask for? Only if I knew back then कि Dark Souls करके भी कोई गेम होता है. लेकिन my happiness was very short-lived because in 15 to 18 months I got the infamous Red Ring of Death. और अगर आपने कभी भी Xbox own किया है and have got one of this bad boy, you know how you feel. And जिनको नहीं पता कि Red Ring of Death क्या है, essentially my Xbox fucking died. And Aryan Sahu was back in the stands, watching on from the sidelines. But hey, I wasn't complaining because I still had this beautiful thing, which might or might not have been responsible for ruining my 12th standard. Listen, what I'm trying to say is that 6.8 CGPA in 12th standard CBSE science is not that bad, right? और फिर in the same week as my boards ended, I remembered my promise and I uploaded my first YouTube video. और अब मैं सच बताऊंगा, even before pressing that publish button, मेरे अंदर वो डर था कि मेरे classmates देखेंगे और हंसेंगे मेरे पे. But मैंने वादा किया था कि मैं upload करूंगा. So I did press the upload button and guess what? Nobody fucking cared. और इसीलिए मैं बोलता हूँ, nobody cares what you do because they're too busy thinking about themselves. And you know, the moment I pressed the upload button, I knew it like that this is what I want to do. I was home. और फिर मैं और new games खेलने लगा to experience something new so that I can make a video talking about that experience. And man, making a video on this Lenovo was it a fucking challenge because मुझे अभी भी याद है while editing इस पे तो Premiere Pro चलने नहीं वाला था, so there was a software called VSDC. और अगर उस पर यूज़ करते टाइम अगर मैं कुछ ज़्यादा इफेक्ट्स डाल देता था एक बार में, द एंटायर सिस्टम वुड क्रैश एंड मैंने जितनी भी प्रोग्रेस की थी उस प्रोजेक्ट पे आई लूज इट ऑल. बट दैट डिडंट स्टॉप मी फ्रॉम कीप ट्राइंग टू डू इट अगेन एंड अगेन. पता है क्यों? बिकॉज दिस टाइम आई वॉजंट ड्रिवन बाय फियर, I was driven by love. I wanted to learn this craft and I couldn't care less about the views. I wanted to see the progress in myself and not behind some numbers and graphs. और since lockdown का समय था and Among Us was absolutely popping off, creators were getting millions of views by talking about Among Us. So मेरे जितने भी दोस्त थे who tried to help me with my content creation, वो लोग बोलते थे आर्यन Among Us पे वीडियो बनाना बहुत अच्छे views आएंगे. And instead I made this.
Oh, police kill. What's going on? Oh, this is going to be amazing.
Okay, this is very fucking cringe. But you know what? At least I was trying new games and increasing my gaming knowledge and improving my content creation skills rather than just watching numbers go up on a screen. एक साल तक किसी तरह some way after making videos on Lenovo, I was finally lucky enough to build my first PC. And now, sky was the limit. But I will be honest here at this point. At this point, I was more excited by the prospect of making better quality content than I was with the idea of experiencing newer games. So my love for content creation started to overshadow my love for gaming. The first game that I played on my PC was Witcher 3, which was an amazing experience, but not as much as of an amazing experience as it was to use Premiere Pro for the first time, dude. Going from VSDC to Premiere Pro, it was like so fucking good. So my love for gaming was still on the decline. So मैंने ऐसा क्या किया? आर्यन साहू ने ऐसा क्या किया to bring back his love for gaming much more than content creation? I played Valorant, guys. Don't look at me. I mean, पहले मेरा इंटरेस्ट डिक्लाइन में था, लेकिन आफ्टर प्लेइंग Valorant and other competitive FPS, my interest basically fucking died. I had no interest in gaming whatsoever. इसलिए मैं इस फेज को बोलता हूँ the dark ages. So remember when I said that मेरे लिए YouTube and gaming coexist करने लगा था? So अगर मेरा interest in gaming died, and the content that I made also suffered drastically. अब आप बोलोगे कितने टाइम के लिए सफ़र किया होगा? 2 हफ्ता, 3 हफ्ता, 4 हफ्ता? No. 15 fucking months. आई नो मैंने ये डार्क एजेस वाली फेज के बारे में पहले भी बहुत बार बात की है, सो वी गोइंग टू स्किप दिस. द लाइट दैट brought me out of this darkness and saved me from going into the abyss was a game that was released in February of 2022. Elden Ring. When I rolled credits on this game for the first time, it was like experiencing teenage love all over again. This was not just cheap dopamine or a source of entertainment, but it was a piece of art. An art piece which made me appreciate the art form much more. फिर मैं और सिंगल प्लेयर गेम्स खेलने लगा, अपने कंफर्ट जोन के बाहर के गेम्स ट्राई करने लगा, एंड इट जस्ट केप्ट ग्रोइंग माई लव फॉर दिस आर्ट फॉर्म. और उन सब गेम्स में से एक था डेविल मे क्राई 5, विच वॉज सो मच फन. मुझे वो गेम खेलने में इतना मज़ा आया दैट आई वॉन्टेड अदर पीपल टू एक्सपीरियंस दिस गेम एज वेल. सो मेरी बहन शाउट आउट निष्ठा को मैंने ये गेम खेलने दिया, and she had so much fun playing that game and pressing all the buttons on my controller and essentially destroying it. But one thing, उसने एक चीज़ बोली after she got done playing that game कि अगर तुम्हें ये गेम इतना ही पसंद है तुम इस पे वीडियो क्यों नहीं बनाते. And the moment ये क्वेश्चन मैंने रजिस्टर किया, I was like, मैं क्यों नहीं बनाता इस गेम पे वीडियो. This game is so much fun. And I literally couldn't come up with a single reason to not make a video on this game. And henceforth, I released the video trying to sell Devil May Cry 5 in 15 minutes. और फिर वो वीडियो बनाने के बाद I kept on making other gaming videos, and in gaming videos में I was doing research about the game, understanding the development process, and all of this thing just kept growing my love not only for video games but content creation as well. So this process went on all the way till my love for Red Dead Redemption 2. And that brings me to the biggest reason why I fell in love with video games. And it's you guys. You guys are the biggest reason to why I fell in love with video games. And not only video games but content creation as well. And I really wanted मुझे एक ऐसा वीडियो बनाना था where I thank my audience for choosing to watch me. And I sympathize with me. मैंने ये पार्ट स्क्रिप्ट में लिखा नहीं है, मैंने बस स्क्रिप्ट में लिखा है thank the people who care for you so much. So ये पार्ट थोड़ा improvised है, and I guess अगर आप यहाँ तक देख ही रहे हो so you'd like watching my videos I assume. But again, I really wanted to make a video thanking you guys for choosing to watch me, because it's truly unreal. If the 14-year-old Aryan who back then decided to start a channel, and if he saw that, इसके इतने subscribers हैं, इसको इतने लोग देखते हैं, he would be over the moon. He would not believe it. So that kid Aryan's dream has come successful, but that 22-year-old Aryan who's very ambitious is not at all satisfied. But वो उस चीज़ के बारे में है नहीं. Why I said that Red Dead Redemption वाला video is that the moment I uploaded that video, and then the comments of people appreciating what I do and appreciating the game, and I was like, this is such a beautiful sense of community here that I really love. And it really circles back to the platform thing that I was talking about, of how video games serve as a platform for us to come together and form bonds of it. I feel like every time I stream or every time I upload a video, the love that you guys support me, it's like it makes me feel like whether I'm deserving of it or not, because in this market there are so many more talented creators out there than me. They are like 1,000 times better than me. Like मैं कभी उनके जितना अच्छा हो भी नहीं पाऊंगा, and yet you guys choose to watch me. So I feel like there's that imposter syndrome within me that I'm not good enough. But again, वो उस चीज़ के बारे में है नहीं. The goal of this video was to just thank you guys, my community, for choosing to watch me and support me. I really struggle at this. This is really out of my comfort zone. I don't really do this, but मुझे एक ऐसा वीडियो बनाना था. मुझे पता नहीं अभी चैनल कितने सब्सक्राइबर्स पे है, एंड ऑनेस्टली मुझे पता नहीं आप ये वीडियो कब देख रहे हो, whether that is when the channel has grown or I'm cancelled. God, I hope that not happens. But yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say. Thank you guys for choosing to watch me. I feel truly honored, and thank you for your support that you guys have shown me, whether you've just joined recently or you've been watching me for like a year or so, or before that. But yeah, I don't know how to end the video now. So yeah, again, all I can say is that thank you so much.